Hi, everybody. This is Kathy. Welcome back. It's January now, and it got me to thinking that, hey, this is the month that West Virginia's grand jury will meet, and well, I'm hoping for some indictments myself. And if I'm correct, it should be about the third week of January. And it also got me to thinking, like, about these poor victims, and not just the Whitakers, but all these people who sent in money for this Amish house that was supposed to be built, and they got the rug pulled out from under them. And Eric didn't build the house; he just made an excuse and just went home with all the money. And so, I was thinking about these poor victims that donated the money, and all these articles that we saw that came out in September. It says that there is an investigation going on fraud, and it says that the investigators are requesting that anyone who has sent money or merchandise to Patrick Rourke or Eric Carroll, that they're asking that you contact the police and provide information about the transactions. Now, it got me to thinking that, you know what? I know a couple people who may be victims. Now, they might be victims, or they might be in on it. Call that a co-conspirator or something like that. Well, let's just check it. Now, Eric Carroll has got a couple of his very best friends along with him for the ride. And one of his friends here is Mark. And I guess he goes by the nickname Douche. Anyway, so I'm a little concerned about Mark. Did Mark get ripped off? Because Eric Carroll's friend Mark, aka Douche, donated quite a sum of money to this survey that was done. Yeah, he paid for that survey for a house that was never built. So, Mark, I was wondering, are you a victim too? Because you need to get a hold of Corporal Gilkison. So let's see what Mark did, and maybe he might want to get a hold of the authorities. Okay, so according to Eric Carroll, on Friday, September 5th, 2025, his good friend Mark from California spent his own money to fly out from California, and then he spent more of his own money and he paid for the survey for the land so the Amish house can be built. Now, my question is, well, since there's no house built, did Mark get his money back? Go ahead, Eric. Tell us about the what your good friend did.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that this week would have been spent drawing up plans, getting the all this stuff measured out.
Mark came here from California, dude. He spent his own money to get out here.
Wow.
He paid. We went and met the day about this. Went down with BJ. Went and met with the surveyor there in Beckley. Paid him, and they were coming out to survey the property. That was why we was back there on the property trying to find it. We found out their house was in the flood zone.
Oh, that's what you were doing back there. Okay, so Mark paid for the survey. You heard it on Friday, September 5th, 2025. Mark and Eric Carroll went down to the county and they paid for the permits, and Mark, his friend, paid somebody for the survey, and he said who it was. It was Centec. So according to Eric Carroll, Mark went and paid for the survey in full for the Whitaker land to be surveyed. Now that's going to be kind of pricey. It must have put Mark back quite a bit, because if I remember right, it's like 17 acres. And I know because I own land, and that should be thousands of dollars. I mean, at least a few $1,000s to do 17 acres of uneven land. Anyway, so poor Mark, he wrote that check to Centec to have the land surveyed, and then you, his friend Eric Carroll, backed out of the deal. So my question is, did Mark get his money back from Centec? And if not, he should get a hold of Corporal Gilkison. So, Mark, did you really write a check to Centec and you're a victim that should get your money back? Or did you pretend that you wrote the check to Centec? Or are you some type of a victim and you need to get a refund? Because that had to be a lot of money there, Mark.
Paid. We went and met the day about this, went down with BJ, went and met with the surveyor there in Beckley, paid him, and they were coming out to survey the property. That was why we was back there on the...
Okay, you heard it. He paid for that survey. So he should get his money back. And since this was the same day that he paid for the survey, and then his friend Eric backed out of the deal, you're looking kind of happy. It looks like you're not even that bothered that you lost thousands of dollars to Centec for a deal that never happened. It looks like you're really, it doesn't bother you. That's weird. Now, the other very good best friend of Eric Carroll, Robert Mast here, he also must be out a huge amount of money himself, because according to Eric, on several times he told us that Robert Mast flew out from Idaho on his own dime and he wrote a check for $500 to the Amish. What about Robert? Did he get his money back? Or is he in on it? Come on. Now, this is also on that same Friday where Eric just backed out of the deal for the Amish home. So you would think that his friends would be upset. Now, Mark just lost thousands on a survey, and your friend Robert Mass here just lost some money too. So go ahead, tell us about the money. What happened?
But we got that lined up, and Robert Mast on the spot wrote a $500 check towards the Whitaker home.
Wow.
He was the first one to put seed money in it.
Wow.
And after
impressive.
He bought his own plane ticket from Idaho. He
Wow.
came over here and left his family, whom his wife had just had a broken femur and hip surgery. So,
wow, he must be really upset because he left his wife with his elderly wife with a broken hip, and he just spent his own airplane money to come out here, and he wrote the first $500 check, and then you called the whole deal off. Is Robert going to get that $500 check? Oh, wait, who did he write the check to? We need to get a hold of is it the Amish bishop? Is that who we need to get a hold of? We need to get a hold of whoever Robert wrote that check to, because I think Corporal Gilkison needs that information. So, did Robert get ripped off of his $500 and his plane ticket and all that stuff? How is Robert going to get his money back, Eric? Now, either Robert's in on it or Robert needs a refund for at least that $500 check that you call seed money.
Matt, on the spot, wrote a $500 check towards the Whitaker home.
Wow, that home that you just called off hours ago. So, again, is Robert Mast in on it, or is Robert Mast a victim who got robbed $500 from you, Eric? Now, I think his other friend here, Dwayne, I don't think he gave anything to anybody, but he did get paid for his performances on the live streams here. So I don't think Dwayne got anything taken from him. So I think Dwayne is doing just fine. He probably does not need to report to Corporal Gilkison about his financial losses through this, canceled Whitaker home. So, yeah, I think the police might want to hear from your buddies there. Yeah, I mean, if they're not involved or anything like that in the whole thing, maybe they need to get a hold of the police in West Virginia and let them know about how they lost all their money too. So anyway, just, looking out for your friends, and I hope the state police can sort all this out, because it is quite the mess. Anyway, thanks for listening, and peace.